This is week 3. Happy to have you all aboard. Hope everybody's enjoying the cooking classes. And today, once again, thank you to Kevin for our videoing. And we have Bill Vokes with us today, and we are going to go ahead today and we have everything ready here. We're going to make our meatballs, our marinara sauce, and our garlic mashed potatoes. So right now we have everything set up and we're going to go ahead and get started later. And we're going to go ahead and start mixing and making our meatballs because we want those made first. And then we're going to go ahead and do our mashed potatoes while these are getting ready to cook. And then we're going to go ahead and make the sauce as we're doing the potatoes. Okay, so here you see that we have our whole table ready, and we like to call this in the chef's world mise en place, and that simply means everything in its place. So today we have a few things going on, and we have all the ingredients that we're going to be using today in front of you, and we're just getting ready to prep. And then when it comes time to cook, everything is easy to go and everything is here for you. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and we have all our ingredients ready for the meatballs, and I have all my meat all prepped and ready. I'm going to go ahead now and start seasoning everything, and of course we got our pepper, and then you've all got the recipe, so it's all there for you. Our salt and pepper, and I've got my fresh herbs all cut up. I'm being a little bit generous with the salt because the holes are tiny. We have our chopped onions, and we have some fresh chopped garlic. Actually, I'm going to go ahead and mix up my Bill, you want to do that for me? You can crack these eggs, and then I'll put the milk inside of the breadcrumbs, and we'll get that soggy and ready. And all that's going to do, the bread and the milk, is just kind of bind up the meat as we make our meatballs and help them stay together. Got some fresh parsley and some fresh basil chopped up here as well. And then I am gonna go ahead and add these beautiful eggs that Bill has so lovely cracked with no shells. But if you do get a shell, just take your cracked shell and kind of scoop out that broken and it comes right out. That easy. Oh, sorry Bill. I'm just gonna get that in there. You can give that a little stir. Just get that happy. So I'm gonna go ahead now, and I'm gonna mix all this beauty together. This is gonna make a whole lot of meatballs, okay? So I've got ground beef, and I've got my pork, and I kind of snuck in a few mild Italian sausages in there. And this combo gives a great flavor to your meatballs. And also, you don't wanna over mix your meat. Kind of like when you're making a cake, you don't wanna over mix your cake batter. You want it to be nice and moist, and we don't want it all tough. So when you're over mixing your meat, that's what happens. You ever bite into a meatball and it's like, it should melt in your mouth, not be too chewy. So you just want to go nice, make sure everything's mixed and incorporated. Then I'm going to go ahead and maybe have Bill toss in some of that cheese and breadcrumb mixture, and we'll finish that off. We could do it all, yeah. So I got pretty much a cup in here. I love adding this. And then of course our bread to bind us in. We'll just toss all that in. And that's it. And this is like a milk mixture, so just mix all that up. And you can find if you need a little bit more milk at the end, which I don't think we will, because I've made this a few times, so we'll see. We'll see what happens. But I know in my recipe that I sent everybody that I only added 2 of the meats. Like I said, feel free with the pork too. And if you don't want to use pork, just use a 85% fat content for your beef, just so it's not too lean. You want some fat for flavor. And we'll just make sure those breadcrumbs get mixed in corporately nicely. And then we're gonna go ahead and start scooping some meatballs as soon as I get this mixed up. So now I'm gonna show you guys how to make a meatball. I usually like to take an ice cream scoop, or if you have a real scoop that actually clicks, that's even nice. 1 good scoop is all you need. And you just you don't wanna, like I said, overwork it. You're just like making a snowball when you were a kid. Make them nice and round. And you don't wanna pat it too tight, but you do want it to form a ball. So I like to kind of roll it up a little bit. What you can do, usually 20 to a tray is usually what we do. I like to put like 4 across or 5 across, and then maybe, 5 down or 4 down. And then I'm gonna throw these into a preheated oven at 350 for like about 15 minutes. And then they're gonna finish off in our sauce later on. Okay, so now we're gonna go ahead with our marinara sauce. And as I'm doing this, I'll explain this in a second, but Bill is still rolling our balls away. And by the time he's done rolling and I'm done getting this sauce going and the potatoes, you can already see that we're already ahead of the game. Now it's just a matter of cooking everything and then executing it in the end and then eating it. So right now I've got some garlic chopped up, and I put about a few tablespoons of oil, olive oil. I'm gonna add a little bit more because I am doubling my recipe today. So I'm just gonna add, close to 4 tablespoons. And I've got the garlic cooking on low heat so it doesn't burn. And that's just to infuse the oil for the sauce, so that it gives that extra flavor that we're looking for this nice marinara sauce. And then once the meatballs are done, they're gonna cook in here for about 10 minutes, 15 minutes, and they're just gonna be just happy in a sauce bath of marinara. So we're gonna go ahead and let this cook for a few minutes, just so they, you know, the oil gets infused by the garlic and it starts to cook lightly. So once again, just on low heat, not too high, because if you go high, it's gonna burn and there your sauce is ruined. And then let me explain the potatoes. So we've got our potatoes from our farmer's market, so thank you, Bill, for that. We've already chopped them up for you, and you can see they're already sitting in water, and I just turned them on. But to put your potatoes in, you wanna make sure your water is cold. And the reason for that is so they don't overcook. You don't wanna have mushy potatoes. If you put them in hot water, they cook fast on the outside and not the inside. So when you add them, you wanna make sure they're to cold water so that they cook and come up together with temperature. And you wanna make sure that when you're cutting your potatoes, if you're not gonna cook them whole, make sure they're uniform cuts or, you know, same size so they cook evenly. You don't wanna have one hard potato, one soft. And we've already turned this on high, so these guys are gonna cook for about 10-15 minutes. And during all that time, we are just gonna almost get ready to add our rest of our sauce to this garlic and oil. We'll give it a few more minutes, but it's already smelling so good in here. Oh, and by the way, I've already roasted off our garlic because I like to add that to our mashed potatoes in the end. So as you can see over here in our lovely wrapped tin foil, I've cut off the head of the garlic, the whole garlic, and I've added a little bit of olive oil and some salt and pepper. It's a little warm. And as you can see, the garlic is roasted beautifully. And I'm gonna squish all that yumminess into our mashed potatoes at the end. So be careful sleeping with your loved ones tonight, but you will keep the vampires away. All right, so now we've got our garlic nice and, you know, simmering away here beautifully in this oil, and the smell is just amazing. And you can see it's not burnt, but you can see it's getting happy in there. So I'm gonna go ahead now and add my pureed tomatoes, and yes, fresh is best, but today we're cheating and we're gonna do the little jar. So I know not everybody grows tomatoes and purees them, but there is different ways that you could do it, shortcuts, and very gently, and without burning yourself, just toss that right in the oil. And then I'm gonna go ahead and get the other one. Get these guys in there. And you could pretty much use any tomatoes you want. The beefsteak tomatoes are good, but I like the bromas, but these are processed, not in our fresh garden. We like to support our local farmer's market. So at the end of August, when your tomatoes, you're gonna have tons of tomatoes, this is what you wanna do with them. So just pretend these are ours and we made them. I'm gonna go ahead and add some fresh basil. This is definitely from the garden. And then I'm gonna add some oregano. You can use about a couple tablespoons for this batch that we're using. Just kind of eyeballing it here. This gives it nice flavor. And then just give that a little stir. And I'm gonna get this up to a simmer. So I'm gonna crank up the heat a little bit. And once it starts to simmer, I'm gonna turn it right back down and just let it cook away. And there you have a simple, easy marinara sauce. And then once our meatballs are done in the oven, we're gonna toss them in here as well and let them simmer some more. All right, so now we're going ahead and I've got them in our preheated oven at 350. And I got a top and a bottom going on, but I'm gonna alternate them after about 10 minutes because they are a little bit bigger. So we're probably gonna cook these for 15 to 20 minutes. And while that's happening, our potatoes are cooking away. Got a nice boil coming, and our sauce is gonna gently just simmer here, and then you're gonna see all this magic happen in a minute. Okay, so now we have our potatoes are ready, and I'm just gonna go ahead and strain these over here in the sink very carefully so you don't burn yourself. We're just gonna pour them in here. I'm gonna put them back in the pot. Nice and drained. No, we don't wanna rinse them off. We want all that perfectness. And then I'm gonna go ahead and mash my potatoes. And right here I have with me my butter, I have some heavy cream, and of course our nice roasted garlic. So I'm gonna go ahead and just squeeze this right in here. This is how simple and delicious this is. It's like a paste almost, nice garlic paste. You just wanna squeeze those out of their little shells. And so now I'm gonna add in our butter. I got a little bit of butter here. I'm just gonna put a little bit for now, and then our heavy cream, of course. I'm kind of not measuring, but I gave you guys all the measurements, so you have them all. And this is what you call mashed potatoes. When you're actually using a hand masher, some people will whip their potatoes, and that's fine too. You can mash them and then give them a nice whip. You don't want to whip them up too much and mash them up too much because you want them just nice and light and fluffy. So we don't want to overwork them. Just like anything you overwork is going to be tough and chewy. So you just want to make sure that you're just being gentle and just getting a nice little mash. This is a good exercise. You don't have to go to the gym. Just spend a couple hours in the kitchen and you got muscles. And at this point, I think I'm going to add my salt and pepper now. There's my salt. I'm just going to add a little bit of pepper. If you don't like dark pepper, you can add white pepper. And just mix that up a little bit. I like a little bit of lumps in my potatoes, that's why I like to hand mash them. But you can see that they're pretty smooth just by the hand mash. I'm gonna give it a good taste here before, because you don't wanna add too much salt and pepper and too much ingredients, because then you can't take it away, right? So add a little bit to start, and if you need to add more at the end, you can. And there you have a nice mashed potato. I'm gonna go ahead and try it with the spoon, and I'm not gonna double dip. I'm gonna try it with 1 spoon tasting, and I'm gonna get rid of it. Let's see. Oh, the garlic. Oh, call the police. All right, so we're gonna go in now and get out these meatballs. And I am gonna add these beauties to our sauce. And they're cooked because I checked the temperature and it reads a nice 175, so we're good. We're gonna finish cooking them off in the sauce. Sauce is still simmering away. These are gorgeous. Look at the size of these beauties. I'm gonna go ahead and just add them right to our sauce. We're gonna go ahead and add these and finish the cooking process up right in here. And there you have it. So I'll go ahead and just give these guys a nice little hot bath with sauce. You can do this, you can eat these by themselves, you can eat them with a nice spaghetti dish, any kind of pasta dish, but we're gonna have mashed potatoes because I want you guys to see what it's like to have these gorgeous garden potatoes with roasted garlic. Add some nice fresh Parmesan Reggiano cheese, and just drizzle that right over top. Just gives it that nice little kick. And I'm gonna throw in some beautiful basil, fresh from the garden, and voila, look at that presentation. Bring that to your dinner table, and you know what? Dinner is served. So I'm gonna go ahead and plate a plate, and then we're gonna taste it. And there you have our meatballs and marinara sauce with some fresh Parmesan and some fresh basil and some roasted garlic mashed potatoes. Enjoy.